My wife was experiencing malignancy of her cancer. It was originally in her breast and it had spread. She had lots of complications with fluid in the lung, and we were previously on a raw diet, but we obviously weren't following the right balance of alkalinity, and we weren't avoiding sugar. We were eating lots of fruit. At one point, she was struggling just to get up and walk. She was in a wheelchair. She was on oxygen 24 hours. I had to lift her up out of bed, lay her down in bed. She had too much rib pain from coughing. I had to bathe her. I mean, that's the kind of stress I was talking about. It wasn't the stress of taking care of someone who's completely dependent on you. Before we came to Oasis of Healing, she got some treatment. We tried to avoid all pharmaceuticals, and we were sticking with Qigong and raw diet. And when the fluid got bad enough in her lungs, she had to drain her lungs about 5 times in the right lung. When it got into the left lung and both lungs were affected, she didn't have much choice at that point but to go in the hospital and get lung tubes put in. And she did start Xeloda, which is the oral form of chemo. It's one of the mildest forms, but that was enough to stabilize her and stop the lung fluid. Luckily a friend had sent a link of the Oasis of Healing. Actually, it was a Google video of you talking about the pH balance of the body and its relationship to the millivolt potential of the cell, and then also discussing raw food and how not to make cancer. And that had taken everything we thought we were doing right and corrected it. It explained pH, it explained the millivolt potential, and how if the cell doesn't have the right millivolt potential, it's going to have the environment for disease. And it explained why the diet we were following, although it was raw, was too acidic, and that affected the millivolt potential. So everything clicked, and we knew this was the right place to come. When she came here, she was given a dietary program to follow along with the treatments in the clinic, and I also followed the same program. I did a juice fast for 8 days, and at which time I started to feel a little bit fatigued, so I decided it would be better to stay, have my stamina up so I could take care of her, plus she was in bad shape when she got here. And we went back on the raw diet at that point. Of course, this time around we were following a much more alkaline raw diet, and of course a plant-based raw diet. And yes, immediately I noticed in myself digestion improvement and more energy, but at the time, of course, I was stressed, But yes, I've been on and off of raw diets before, and I can tell as soon as when I get back on the raw diet and I start following a good program, I feel cleaner and lighter and have a lot more energy. She's a complete miracle. I mean, she's standing up, jogging, smiling, breathing normal. I mean, she hasn't had a normal pulse like she has now for 6 months, She's gone from, at one time, 130, was stuck in the 130s for a week, back down to about a normal mid-70s pulse. And I mean, it's a true miracle. I mean, anybody listening to this needs to know that there are miracles happening here. And so I believe with the tools and the education we've received at the clinic, I would like to say we'd be unstoppable, because we now have the tools we need to take control of our own health and to stop making cancer, stop creating the environment that disease loves to breed in. And when you have that education and that kind of second chance on life that Anna has now, I mean, every day is a gift. My advice would be to anyone here, before you get pressured into any major life-changing decisions like getting surgery, radiation, or chemo, please watch the videos at anoasisofhealing.com. Consider coming to An Oasis of Healing, which is here in Mesa, Arizona, and give Dr. Lodi a shot. All he needs is for you to show up, and once you get here, your chances of success and turning around this disease have just increased exponentially, because my wife and I have personally seen Well, I have personally seen my wife, number one, come from stage 4 breast cancer on the brink of death, you know, with lungs full of tumors, and now walking around normal. You know, I've seen other patients come in here. One girl with Hodgkin's disease, young girl, tumors growing out of her chest. In 5-6 weeks, she was turned around and in remission. And this is without invasive surgery, without radiation, and without a toxic assault of chemotherapy just blindly assaulting the body. I mean, the chemo here is delivered in a way that is very non-toxic and specifically targets the cancer cells, which allows your body to walk out of here clean, you know, with its immune system intact, you know.